This Diocese of Houma Thibodeau program is brought to you by Crosby Tugs.
Jesus tells his disciples that if the people in the town don't receive them and don't receive the gospel that they're proclaiming to them, that they're supposed to shake the dust off their feet. Many years ago, when I was a brand new seminarian, somebody got mad at me for something, and I was kind of tore up about that. And so I was sharing with Father Cody down in Cutoff. He wasn't Father Cody, and he wasn't in Cutoff. He was a seminarian. But I was sharing with Father Cody, or Cody at the time, a little bit about that. And he said, well, what did you do wrong in the situation? Like, how did you offend this person? And I said, well, I didn't. And he said, well, is there something you need to like apologize for? And I said, well, no, there's not. And he said, well, then just shake the dust off your feet and move on. And I've remembered that this was 15 years ago, maybe more. And I remember that conversation because it has helped me so much. That situation, to be honest with you, I don't even remember what the strife was, but that person and I have a great relationship now. And it ended up that it was actually just a little thing. And the lesson that Father Cody taught me by simply repeating the words of Jesus that we heard in the gospel today, to me, was that, some things are not that big of a deal. And none of us can always please everybody. None of us can make everybody happy all the time. Instead, our job is to do the right thing, to proclaim the gospel, to live good and holy lives in accordance with what our Lord Jesus Christ has taught us, in accordance with what God has revealed to us in the scriptures and in the tradition handed down to us from Jesus through the apostles and all the rest. And yeah, sometimes it's going to be our fault, and we're going to have to go and say we're sorry. Sometimes we're going to offend people because we've done something wrong, and we're going to have to do as best we can to make amends and to make reparation for what we've done wrong. But in any case, we ought not let ourselves be torn up, but rather we get up, we begin again, and we move forward with the Lord, apologizing when we're wrong, making amends as we can, and when it's not our fault, when people just don't like us just because, or because we have a disagreement that we didn't do anything wrong about, we shake the dust off our feet and we go. I remember Mother Angelica used to say something like this. She would say, the difference between a sinner and a saint is that when the sinner falls into the mud, that's sin, the sinner stays there. And the sinner staying in the mud begins to like the mud and enjoy the mud. The saint also sometimes falls into the mud. Please God, we avoid mortal sin, but sometimes we fall into the mud of venial sin, or maybe even, God forbid, mortal sin. And what does the saint do? The saint gets up, goes to the hosepipe, that's confession, washes off, and keeps on going. So this image of shaking the dust from our feet that Jesus gives has all sorts of applications, all sorts of implications for us, whether we are being persecuted for doing right, or whether we have done wrong and have to apologize and move forward. How do we do that? Why isn't what people think of us the most important thing in the world? Because this life isn't the end. Because this world is passing away. St. Paul, in the second reading, he talks about how circumcision and uncircumcision don't mean anything, but what does mean something? A new creation. That's the goal. That's the point. You remember, God created the heavens and the earth and all that is in them, and he set man and woman in the Garden of Eden, and they sinned, and they spurned the Lord, and what did God do? Right away, he promised redemption. The woman and her seed would crush the head of the serpent and its seed, as Jesus did on Good Friday on the cross, through Easter Sunday in the resurrection. What is waiting for us is resurrected life. What is waiting for us is a return to paradise, except even better than it was at the beginning, because we, through the sacrament of baptism, have been incorporated into Jesus Christ. And when Jesus Christ comes on the last day to judge the living and the dead and the world by fire, everyone's body is going to be raised up from the grave. And those who died in a state of grace will get glorified bodies and be with him forever in heaven. And those who died outside of a state of grace will go or continue in hell. Lord, have mercy. Please preserve us from that. With their bodies in eternal punishment. Our longing, our desire, what we strive for, what we ask God to give us is the new creation, where all is made right, where all is good, where, as we say sometimes in the Eucharistic prayer at funerals, where every tear will be wiped away from our eyes. So let us follow Jesus' words and, well, let's practice shaking the dust off our feet by focusing not on the things of this world, not on the things of this life, but by focusing upon him, by focusing upon the kingdom of heaven, by focusing on redemption and the new creation, which is promised to anyone who has received the grace of baptism and perseveres in a state of grace.
This Diocese of Houma Thibodeau program has been brought to you by Crosby Tugs.